All right,
Thanks a lot. I'm ready.
you look at me the whole time.
Oh, sure, okay.
Could you just say and spell your first and last name?
My name is Albert, A-L-B-E-R, of course, and Valdeo, B-A-L-D-E-O, and I'm the deputy district leader of Little Guyana. This community here, which is the largest expatriate Guyanese population outside of Guyana, which is in Richmond and Roosevelt Park, Pennsylvania.
It's incredible. There's some 140,000 Guyanese people who live here in New York
But it's more than that, because we have to cater for some folks who care here sort of like artificially, and some people who multiply. So I would put it around 300,000. Some people say as high as 500,000, because actually New York City and New York State has recognized Guyana as a demographic community by itself.
That's remarkable. So I know obviously we're here for a very tragic reason. So many people in Guyana, really all around the world, are mourning the death of this 11-year-old girl. Why do you think it's so important to have community events like this, even though we are so far away from Guyana?
Right, because anything that happens in Guyana, when Guyana catches a cold, we get pneumonia in New York. We've always been the take care of our folks back home by sending barrels when Guyana is not in the threshold communities. Guyana has discovered oil. It's a very private community. It's one of the world's largest, growing, fastest economies. They have been talking to people to Dubai, and although we have not yet gone there, there's this kind of camaraderie, this kind of love, and this kind of connection to Guyana that folks would maintain that. And so anything that happens there, reverberates across the world. And that is why it is part of our culture, part of our history, and an indelible part of our nationality and our native land that we are still connected to.
It's beautifully said. I know a lot of people in Guyana and around the world are demanding answers about what happened. How do we keep the pressure on the Guyanese government to remain transparent or to be transparent going forward when so many people are hurt and confused and want answers?
Right. Well, there are two aspects of that question. One, we have to maintain the status quo, that is, maintain the peace. There have been riots, there have been civil disturbances, there have been civil disobedience, so we as Guyanese have a duty to tell our family and folks back home to keep the peace. Secondly, we all want justice, but justice has not been done at the expense of other people's rights and so forth. There are lots of folks who are using this as an opportunity for political gain, or for extortions and wild gangs and so forth, who are not connected with them. But the majority of gangs, I would say like 95% of us, genuinely want to see justice is done. How do we keep the pressure on the Guyana government? They've got to continue investigation. They've got to bring in the FBI, Interpol, Scotland Yard. They did post-mortem with 3 independent examiners, one of whom was asked for by the family. That's a step in the right direction, but it must continue to ensure that no stone is left unturned. I've written letters to the former prosecutor and magistrate home. I was a judge and did these cases, lots of these cases I took to trial, where there were murderers and killers and treasons and arsons, and they had rapists. They paid with for their heinous acts by going to jail, and I put them in there since before I came to America. So it's very close to me because I also lost a child in Guyana who was 18 months old. So I know the pain the family's going through, and we sympathize with the family because they're going through a lot. They need help and support, and I call upon the government to give them emotional, financial support. At the same time, the government has got to give this every priority. Make sure that the forensics are done, apart from the autopsy. The water in the lungs has to be sent to abroad to see if the water in the lungs came from the pool, or if she was killed outside the pool, as a lot of theories are saying, and we can't rule that out. And then she was knocked out or given something to drink. I'm just speculating here. I'm just like looking through my legal lens as a prosecutor. How did this child die? We have to make sure that justice is done and that we come to the very end and the real answers as to how she died for future reference, and also to please the family and also please all Guyanese inside and outside of Guyana. So that if we don't get how the fluids in our lungs, how it came, and when was the time of death, that could not have been ascertained by the pathologists. There were 3 internationally renowned pathologists. So we have to find out where this water in our lungs, if it's from the pool, or if it's from them, and there's a 22-hour gap that this body started to decompose. So how was this child dead? These are answers that cry out, and if the Guyana government does not give answers, if it does not hold the police accountable, that has already been established, that the police did not follow proper protocol. They were not professional. They allowed this thing to go on, and they allowed this thing to fester. And then the assistant commissioner, he sent people home, he denied them access to the premises. These are questions that are very serious, and therefore we need to get to the bottom of it. We need to get justice so that the government doesn't continue to bring answers to the people, because the election is coming up. And if you cannot provide, and that's a very rich country now. So if you cannot provide answers, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. People may likely, rebel against you in the next election. So they have to do their job.
I have one last question for you. Why do you think that there is so much mistrust with the way that this investigation is being handled? Why are people so curious as to what really happened?
Well, I think the police have corrupted it from the beginning. The police and assistant commissioner, that is like fourth or third from the top. He failed to do the necessary things. He lied. He said that the young lady, the 11-year-old girl, was taken away in a vehicle. And then he locked the people out from going into the building. And she might have been alive at that time. We don't know. We haven't seen the time of that. So with these missteps and these blunders, they have caused distrust. And the police have a history. There's a Monica Ray's case. There was a Dolly Bash case. Samuel Bash, Sammy Bash, a famous singing guy who got the national record years ago. And we've had a history from the police force not stepping up to the right thing and covering up and doing things with murders, and they have a very unpopular. So I think the government has a not in keeping what you said. They have to clean up the police force and have these cases brought to trial and to successful justice. And I think that's where the police have caused this to be a problem. There was another 13-year-old. A lot of people don't get justice in Guyana. Whatever race, whatever creed, that is not what the police force is for. The police force must not be there to serve the party in power. But it must be able to investigate and bring proper prosecution and get training and be impartial. And that is why this case has gone so much out of control. I don't think, apart from departmental action of transferring them and so on, they have ever been fired or charged. I don't think that has been done yet. And until that is done, we're calling upon President Ali to do that. He has to do that and remove them, fire them, put them under scrutiny, put them under departmental injury. If they are charged with a crime, obstruction of justice, covering up the evidence, those are crimes. And if the owner did destroy the hotel, then he was charged for arson, or his employees. So there's other things that must come together here. It's not just one person. The whole thing has to be cleaned up. Police force, owners, families, and so on. But I must tell you, I would be remiss if I say this doesn't hurt us on a personal level, because she could have been our child. She's a child of all Guyanese, and we mourn with them, we suffer with them, and we will not rest until there's justice. But at the same time, we call for peace, tranquility, and brotherhood. That's the only thing we can do in Guyana, is to come together as one. And you can see from our folks here that we are all peaceful. We're 6 races. But we make sure to stand together, that we're united. Am I right, folks? Yeah, this is not about any one of us, it's about all of us. And this is where I stand, my brother. I never met them before, but I know they are guiding and they multi. But it resonates with all of us, including Monica, who convened this is a great job. I want to compliment her, that all of us stand together as one against this. One people, one nation, and one destiny, asking for justice for Adrianna. All of us heard, all of us going. We stand united.
Thank you very much.
Two shot?
Sentiment by all of you.
Albert Bowden, District Leader.
Thank you so much.
Let's get 2 shots.
We will talk. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to get on the other side of you.
Justice for Adrianna.
Thank you so much. I'm like so awkward. So I know that everyone was encouraged to wear red and black, but there's many colors in the Guyanese flag, right? So what was the decision behind red and black?
Okay, well, red represents murder and black is mourning. So we chose those 2 colors as the organizers because she was murdered and we all mourn.
And what was your name, by the way?
Marie Blackman.
Can you spell that for me?
MARIEBALCKMAN.
And you were saying you represent?
Zandros Fantasy Catering. And I'm also going to represent my 2 other organizers, Amazura, Thank You Guys, and One Stop Publishing.
Wonderful. So obviously we're here for a very tragic reason right now. People in Guyana are hurting. People here in New York are hurting. Why do you think it's so important to stand in solidarity?
Because as a parent, I'm going to go first as a parent. This could have been my child. Okay? And I would have wanted the same support. So I think it's just right that grief of these parents. One, they're young parents. So I just think it's right that we do that.
100%. I know that a lot of people here are hurting, keeping the pressure on the Guyanese government and the police down there. We were just speaking about this, but why do you think it's so important to keep the pressure on the police force?
We have to keep the pressure because our police force is known for corruption. They're always failing people. Not every cop is bad, but starting from the head, we're calling on Mr. Ali to remove the commissioner of police. He's incompetent. I'm very sorry, but it's facts. You understand? Whatever the circumstances, who has to be charged, let them be charged. Who has to be fired, let them be fired. We need justice for this child.
100%. There have been a lot of conspiracy theories being flown around. A lot of people think that there are so many different reasons. Perhaps she was kidnapped. A lot of different possibilities. Why do you think that there are so many different theories as to what could have happened?
Okay. Why? They had previous murders there before. Two, the police misled the people by hearsay. Okay? If that father wasn't a strong man, as he said, he felt in his stomach that his daughter is still in that hotel. So if he wasn't strong to stand there, we might have never known the truth or where she was actually killed. So we're calling on the government to do what they're supposed to do. Do what people vote you in there to do. And starting with the Guyana Police Force. The top of the Guyana Police Force needs to go. So we need that.
100%. I guess one last question for you. What is your message to fellow members of the Guyanese community that are hurting right now and that are struggling with this?
Okay, to my Guyanese people, I would like you guys to keep the pressure of protest, but let it be peaceful. We don't want violence. We don't want no looting. Some of the people's stuff you're destroying is who work hard to get their stuff. So keep the pressure by protesting. Keep your voice loud as possible, but let it be respectful and peaceful. And that's my message to the Guyanese people. To the parents, I stand here with you guys until the end. Whatever it takes, I'm gonna be a voice until the end. You need justice, and that is what you're getting.
Oh, thank you so much. You were wonderful. Appreciate you all
Thank
talking
you.
to me. We will be